Hi, movie reviews here. Today, I'm going to explain a comedy, fantasy, and horror film called The Convent. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In 1960, a young Christine went to St. Francis boarding school to beat up all the nuns she came across before setting the place on fire. Then, as if that wasn't enough, she made sure to kill everyone by shooting them, including a priest. 40 years later, Clarissa leaves her sorority house and is scared by her old goth friend, Mo. Clarissa and her friends are heading to St. Francis to see if it's really haunted, and Mo wants to go with them to the convent. However, Clarissa tells Mo that her new friends won't just let her take her with them, so Mo starts blackmailing her. Mo takes out a photo of her and Clarissa that shows they used to be the same, saying she'll reveal to Clarissa's buddies that she isn't who they think she is. Meanwhile, Clarissa's friends start to get impatient waiting for her in the vehicle and tell her to just bring Mo with her. On their way to the convent, the group decides to drop by Christine's house and see if she's still there. They talk about how Christine shut down the convent, adding that she shoots anyone who steps on her property. Of course, the goofy Frigol says he can sleep with her and starts calling out to the woman, but when the light in Christine's room suddenly turns on and shows her silhouette, the group immediately leaves. Once they're at the convent, Clarissa's friend, Biff, cuts the gate's chain so their vehicle can get through. As they prepare to go inside, Frigol tells Mo a lame joke and hopes she'll find him funny, intending to sleep with her before the night ends. However, Mo is not interested in him, but Frigol is determined and assures Biff he'll get the girl. Meanwhile, Clarissa talks to her nerd brother, Brant, about hanging out with guys like Biff and Frigol. She tells Brant that Biff and Frigol are just taking advantage of him, but her brother just wants her to accept that they're his friends, too. On the other hand, Clarissa's boyfriend, Chad, makes fun of Brant, but Brant doesn't really mind him. Moments later, Biff and Frigol order Brant to bust down the door. They even body slam him into the door, and in the end, they enter the place through a hole that Brant accidentally made. Inside, Mo tells them the story of how Father Ryan and Mother Superior kidnapped 16-year-old Christine to terminate her pregnancy. Confused, Clarissa asks why the priest and nuns would do such a thing, so Mo explains that her baby was rumored to be Father Ryan's. Brant then asks if the church punished Father Ryan, but Christine took matters into her own hands and killed them all. At the same time, Christine claimed that the priest and nuns were possessed by the devil, causing her to be sent to a mental institution. Because of the horrifying incident, many believe that Father Ryan and the nuns still haunt that place, seeking revenge. However, Biff's girlfriend, Caitlin, only makes fun of Mo, while on the other hand, Frigol scares them all with a small dead animal. Biff then makes Brant throw it away, and Caitlin tells her boyfriend they should just hurry and spray paint the place so they can leave. The group decides to explore the convent minutes later, and Frigol instructs Brant to take his dog, Boozer, for a little stroll. He hopes to finally score with Mo, but she isn't as ignorant as he thinks. Meanwhile, Chad and Clarissa go to a different part of the convent for some alone time. However, as they make out, Clarissa screams, as she sees a ghost of a scary nun. Of course, Chad doesn't believe her, but Clarissa swears she's telling the truth. Unfortunately, this upsets Clarissa, and she tells Chad she wants to leave. At the same time, Frigol continues to make a move on Mo, but she's having none of it and says she's not losing her V-card to him. However, they don't notice the dark figure watching them as they talk. Then, the cops suddenly arrive and order them to come out, so Frigol quickly hides his stash of weed in one corner while Mo asks him not to tell them she was there because she's already on probation. However, Frigol doesn't want to lie for Mo, so she just tells him she'll make it worth his while. Mo asks Frigol to meet her back there in an hour, but since he doesn't believe she'll show up, he asks for her underwear to make sure she'll return. Moments later, the cops bust the group and tell them they're just like those other kids who are desperate to desecrate the bell tower. However, the cops make it clear that they will never let that happen. Then, Officer Ray asks if there's anyone else inside, and when nobody responds, Officer Starkey says he'll lock them up if he finds out they're lying. Scared, Frigil suddenly tells them there was another girl who bailed on them and went home by herself. Luckily, the officers let them off the hook even though Frigil is caught carrying weed. Meanwhile, as Mo waits for the cops to leave inside the convent, she is suddenly attacked by an unseen assailant. On the other hand, Clarissa's group goes to a coffee shop to have something to eat. Then, Clarissa asks Frigil if he saw Mo leave the convent, but the guy doesn't really answer her question and instead shows them her underwear. But, eventually, Frigil reveals that Mo stayed behind to avoid the cops. Worried, Clarissa urges her friends to go back to the convent with her and get Mo, but she soon realizes they have no intention of returning there. Even Chad doesn't want to come with Clarissa, so she just storms off, leaving the guys laughing. However, Caitlin follows Clarissa to the public restroom and asks why she's so concerned about Mo. Clarissa then explains that the idea of Mo being alone there doesn't sit well with her, and when she says she's going back to the convent with or without them, Caitlin finally gives in and tells her she's coming with her. At the same time, Frigil convinces the guys to return to the convent after revealing he left his stash there. Once they're back inside the convent, the group decides to split up to look for Mo and Frigil's stash. Chad goes with Clarissa, Biff goes with Caitlin, and Frigil is left with Brant. Then, Boozer suddenly runs off, so Frigil orders Brant to go after the dog and wait for him in the car in exchange for hooking him up with a girl. However, once he's alone, Frigil immediately starts taking mushrooms. On the other hand, it is revealed that Mo has been grabbed by a group of Satanists, intending to sacrifice her to their god. They believe that killing Mo will give their leader, Saul, power and summon Satan himself, but Mo finds the whole thing ridiculous. She realizes that they don't know what they're doing, even mocking Saul for working at Dairy Queen, but Saul is determined to finish the ritual and instructs Sapphira to stab their sacrificial lamb. Sapphira then offers a short prayer to the Lord of Darkness and stabs Mo, causing the goth girl to be possessed immediately by one of the demons in the convent. Unfortunately for them, Mo becomes uncontrollable and starts attacking them one by one. Sapphira even tries to hide in one room, but blood suddenly gushes out of the shower. Sapphira can only scream in horror as she bathes in blood, and it isn't long before the blood is replaced by hot water, and she becomes possessed. Somewhere in the convent, Chad and Clarissa hear Sapphira's screams. However, they think that their friends are just messing with them and hope they'll soon stop. Then, they see the door slowly close and open again, so they decide to check it out. Unfortunately, Sapphira suddenly attacks Chad and feasts on his flesh, so Clarissa immediately defends her boyfriend by repeatedly hitting her with her flashlight. Clarissa also manages to shove the flashlight inside Sapphira's mouth until it comes out of the back of her head, but the demon still continues to fight. With no other choice, Clarissa knocks her down with a piece of wood before helping Chad up and getting out of there. They then run into Frigil, who is as high as a kite. But he soon sees Mo and approaches her, thinking it's finally time to claim his prize. Frigil lets Mo go down on him, and as he tries to enjoy the moment, the demon viciously bites his manhood. Meanwhile, Brant continues his search for Boozer and instead comes across Saul and Dickie Boy, thinking they're Frigil's friends. The two then blindfold Brant, and Saul tries several times to knock him unconscious. Once Brant is out cold, Saul tells Dickie Boy that maybe they can reverse the process and send the demons back by sacrificing Clarissa's brother, thinking he's a virgin. On the other hand, one of the demons flays Caitlin's face while Sapphira fights with Biff. However, Biff eventually chooses to run away, leaving his now possessed girlfriend with the other two demons. He then finds Clarissa and Chad and helps them to another room, where they immediately barricade themselves. After that, Biff and Clarissa tend to Chad's wounds, and as they look for a way out, Chad becomes a demon, too. Unfortunately, Chad easily bashes Biff's head and while Clarissa watches in horror, forcing her to escape through the window as more demons show up. 8:28 At the same time, Saul and Dickie Boy prepare to sacrifice Brandt. 8:32 Saul then orders Dickie Boy to perform the ritual, and as Brandt regains consciousness, the leader of the Satanists just tells him he's about to get the surprise he's been waiting for. Unfortunately, Brandt thinks they're about to hook him up with some girls because of that. Then, when the moment comes for Dickie Boy to end Brandt's life, he keeps having second thoughts. Luckily, Brandt finally realizes that something is wrong and immediately flees. Meanwhile, a terrified Clarissa approaches Officer Starkey for help, but the cop gets scared because of her appearance, and thinks she's possessed. He then quickly takes out his gun and starts shooting at Clarissa, forcing her to run away. After that, Clarissa finds herself in front of Christine's house, and since she's desperate, she decides to ask for the woman's help. At first, Christine doesn't seem interested in getting involved, but she eventually opens her door to Clarissa. Back at the convent, the demons gather and wear the dead nun's clothes while Frigil puts on a cassock. On the other hand, Clarissa finds Christine inside the house, pointing a gun at her, but that doesn't stop her from telling the woman what happened. Unfortunately, Christine is sick of helping kids who think it's a good idea to break into the convent and vandalize it. However, Clarissa believes Christine is the only one who can help them, determined to return to the convent to save her friends, but the woman tells her they're already dead. Christine then tells Clarissa to forget about them because it's already too late, revealing that the demons can only inhabit recently deceased bodies. Despite that, Clarissa is hopeful that Brandt is still alive, but Christine implies that he'll soon die if he's a virgin. Then, realizing that Brandt is actually a virgin, Christine informs Clarissa that the demons love someone who is pure. Exasperated, Christine finally decides to tell Clarissa what happened 40 years ago. It all started when a possessed young girl attacked a nun, and it wasn't long before it spread. Soon, all the nuns turned into demons, and the place that also served as an orphanage became the Devil's Convent. The nuns then started acting weird, but the students didn't say a word about it. Meanwhile, Christine had only been there a few weeks, and she was 8 months pregnant and a runaway. Then, Christine went into labor, so the demons prepared her for a ritual that would allow them to sacrifice her baby, revealing that the story about the nuns and Father Ryan terminating her pregnancy wasn't true. Since a baby's blood is more powerful than a virgin's blood, the demons attempted to make Christine's baby the host for their new leader, the Devil's Son. Unfortunately for them, Christine decided to kill them all and save her child, who is now a civil engineer. After telling the story, Christine says the demons will finally complete their ceremony if they get their hands on another virgin. Sadly, because of that, Clarissa realizes that Brandt is about to become the new Antichrist. Meanwhile, Brandt is captured by Saul and Dickie Boy while trying to get away from the demons. Then, the two Satanists immediately begin their ritual and try to kill Brandt, but the demons break into their room and chase them. Soon, the demons catch Brandt, and one of them kills Saul when he tries to attack their sacrificial lamb. On the other hand, Christine prepares for battle and takes out all her firearms. She also gives Clarissa a gun and ignores how reluctant the girl is to follow her, and the two eventually head to the convent. Upon arriving at the convent, Christine immediately shoots and decapitates a demon they find inside, showing Clarissa how to deal with their enemies. At the same time, Dickie Boy, who also happens to be a virgin, is about to be sacrificed by the demons with Brandt. He then suggests to Brandt that maybe they should just sleep with each other so they wouldn't be virgins anymore, thinking the demons will decide to let them go. However, Brandt thinks otherwise and points out they're both tied up, so they won't be able to do anything, but Dickie Boy shows that he already got one of his hands free. As the night deepens, Christine and Clarissa come across more demons, and they team up to kill them all. Then, Christine leaves Clarissa in a room and instructs her to hold off the demons until she returns. Christine immediately takes her motorcycle and comes back for Clarissa, killing 2 more demons before finally driving away. On the other hand, Brandt manages to get away from Dicky Boy as he tries to sleep with him, but they eventually get captured by the demons. Moments later, Christine and Clarissa arrive to stall the ritual, but as Clarissa helps her brother, one of the demons kills Dicky Boy. Unfortunately, Dicky Boy quickly becomes the Antichrist. However, Christine is determined to put an end to everything once and for all, so she lets Clarissa and Brandt escape before sacrificing herself and blowing up the convent. The next day, Clarissa and Brandt finally get out of the convent and even find Boozer. Then, sometime